Multitasking is a totally universal human experience. We drink coffee while reading the news, we listen to music while commuting, and we take notes while listening to a lecture. Expressing this everyday reality in Japanese requires a very specific grammatical tool. Today we're breaking down the exact rules for expressing two simultaneous actions in Japanese using the Nagara grammar structure. Understanding the mechanics and the strict rules of application for this structure is absolutely essential for seamless communication. Let's get right into it.
The structure Nagara directly translates to while doing, but it's not just a loose equivalent. It specifically expresses the occurrence of two distinct actions happening at the exact same time. Think of it like a bridge connecting two totally separate verbs into a single, unified moment of activity. When you use this structure, you're telling your listener that these two events are completely overlapping in time. There's no sequence of first doing one thing and then doing the other. They are beautifully and perfectly synchronized. So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the strict boundaries of this structure. There are two big rules you have to follow without exception. First, both actions must be performed by the exact same person. You can't use this structure to say, I am reading while my friend is sleeping. That requires an entirely different set of grammar. The subject has to be singular and constant across both concurrent actions. Second, the action placed immediately before Nagara is strictly considered the secondary action, while the action that comes after it is the main action. This is a non-negotiable rule of Japanese syntax, and it forms the absolute backbone of how this concept functions in everyday speech.
This creates a strict hierarchy of importance. The action right before Nagara is your secondary, background action, and the action following it represents the main priority. In English, we might be a bit flexible with how we order our simultaneous actions without really changing the core meaning, but Japanese demands total precision here. You see, the final verb in a Japanese sentence always carries the absolute most weight. Therefore, whatever verb you choose to put at the very end of your sentence is your primary focus. The verb attached to Nagara is simply the accompanying action, acting as the background noise or secondary task to your main event.
With those underlying mechanics out of the way, the actual grammatical formation is pretty straightforward. To build the sentence, first you take a verb, extract its masu-stem, and then just attach the word Nagara. Let's use the verb tabemasu, which translates to eat. To find the stem, you simply drop the masu portion at the very end. That leaves you with tabe. From there, you seamlessly attach Nagara to the end of that stem to create tabenagara, meaning while eating. It's a remarkably clean transformation. You can apply this exact same logic to any verb in its formal masu form. Just isolate that core stem and lock it tightly together with Nagara. This brilliantly illustrates that hierarchy rule in practice. Let's analyze the sentence, Watashi wa ongaku wo kikinagara benkyou shimasu. In this scenario, listening to music is the secondary background action, and studying is the main action. The verb for listening is kikimasu. We drop the masu, add nagara to make kikinagara, and place it right in the first half of our sentence. The final verb is benkyou shimasu, meaning to study. Because studying sits proudly at the absolute end of the sentence, it is the undeniable main focus. The speaker is primarily studying. The music is just a pleasant, accompanying element to that primary task. Now, if the speaker were at a live concert primarily focused on the music but casually looking at flashcards on their phone, the entire verb order would have to be reversed.
Let's look at another super common daily situation. For the sentence, Kare wa terebi o minagara gohan o tabete imasu, watching television serves as the background action to the main event of eating a meal. The verb mimasu, meaning to see or watch, becomes minagara. It sits quietly in the first half of the sentence. The final action is tabete imasu, the progressive form of eating. This structure clearly tells us that the subject is sitting down primarily for a meal. The television happens to be on, and they are indeed watching it, but the meal itself is the true primary activity. The grammatical structure cleanly and efficiently separates the secondary entertainment from the primary act of dining.
This hierarchy applies equally to physical movement too. Take the sentence Taro wa utainagara arukimasu. This demonstrates singing as the secondary action that merely accompanies the primary physical action of walking. The verb utaimasu, to sing, transforms cleanly into utainagara. The final verb is arutimasu, meaning to walk. Taro is currently traveling somewhere on foot. That is his main objective and primary focus. The singing is just a joyful, simultaneous addition to his walk, but it's not his primary purpose for being out in the world. This grammar structure literally allows us to paint a very vivid, detailed picture of Taro moving through the world, clearly defining exactly what he is prioritizing in his mind.
So, we have covered the exact definition, the strict single-subject rule, that crucial hierarchy of verbs, and the simple stem transformation process. You now have the exact tools required to perfectly express simultaneous actions in your own Japanese conversations. By remembering that the main action always comes last, how will you apply the Nagara structure to describe your own daily multitasking habits? Take a moment today to think about your typical morning routine or your evening wind-down process. Identify your main task, identify your background task, and try building your own sentence using this exact formula. Understanding this single grammatical point opens up a whole new level of fluency, nuance, and precise expression in your communication.